From architecture to painting and sculpture, literature to live music and theater. Radio 111 presents Bonnie G and Brayan Mendoza with The Desert Scene, your connection to culture and entertainment in the desert cities. Here's Bonnie and Brayan.
Hello, I get to start the episode this time with my guest, Krystofer Do, but I wanted to say that I'm here with the lovely Bonnie G. How are you doing, Bonnie?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to this interview.
And I get to wear the interviewing hat to sort of call an earlier episode the interviewing hat. There we go. So I wanted to welcome Krystofer Do. He is a musician, singer, and all-around talented guy. How are you doing today, Krystofer?
Hey guys, I am doing fantastic. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Super.
We're doing good. We're doing good over here. We're having fun. I was going to say that I am very excited to hear about your first ever concert experience, if I'm correct, right? Like, I know you've done shows, but this would be the first concert experience that you're going to be having?
Absolutely. It's going to be the first concert I will be directing and writing. Yeah.
Perfect. I was going to say, for those of you who don't know, it's called Listen, an original Krystofer Do concert experience. It's going to be featuring a few people: Miguel Albarello, Razor J, Ariane, Whitney McDonald, and Alicia Bates. And it's going to be at the Desert Rose Playhouse,
Yay.
February 4th. At 7 p.m., $85 dinner and show, and then $30 show only. And there's a full cash bar, so if you want to drink and have some music, it's right there for you. Or you want to eat something. But I was going to ask you, like, tell us about the conception of this. Like, what was the moment that this idea was sparked in your head? I'm just curious. Tell us.
Well, I've always wanted... By the way, for the record, for Miguel, it's Miguel Arbayo.
Oh, yeah. I should have let you introduce them. Fair enough. But tell us about the conception.
It's okay. I've always wanted to have like a fully produced concert show. Ever since I was starting, my run as a solo musician. And that was back in 2012, and since then, I've just been writing all kinds of different music. A lot of it is darker themed, and this concert itself is actually, it has a lot of dark themes to it. It's very autobiographical. It explores the darker and deeper parts of my past that sort of molded me and made me. Not just made me who I am today, but also things that I've learned and and grew from, so that I could overcome those darker things. I talk about fighting my demons, and I talk about how my father passed away and how that was a huge catalyst for kind of making me into more of a hardened shell, but also at the same time somebody a lot more sensitive and vulnerable. It's very edgy, and there's even some I don't want to give too much away, but there's even a tiny little bit of a horror element, like a thriller type element, inspired by some of the scary games I've been playing lately. And I want to say that my involvement with Hedwig and the Angry Inch at the Desert Rose Playhouse, they did a show there. And it was Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and they asked my band to do it. And really getting familiar with the equipment that they had, like the lighting and, the stage, the things that we could do on that stage, that was really the beginning of, my thoughts of having it there. And I talked to the theater directors about it, Robbie Wayne and Matthew McLean about it, and they were gung-ho, and I'm really excited that they're having my show there.
By the way, it was a fabulous show. I reviewed it for CV Independent. It was fabulous. Just wanted to say that. And the band was fabulous, so good job.
Thank you so much.
I was going to say that I'm really excited to hear all these opportunities you've been given, because the last time we talked, you've mostly did streaming and a few shows at Stacy, but it's been really wonderful to hear about this update that you've been in more theater-esque productions. And now I wanted to ask, I know that you said something about fighting your demons and showing them on stage, I was going to say that how important do you think it is for an artist to sort of to reveal themselves to their audience? How important do you believe that should be for any artists? And I'm just curious about your philosophy on that.
I believe that it's more important nowadays than it ever has been. And the reason why is because the fact of the matter is that because the internet exists and that there's going to be, if you're looking to be a public figure, a lot of people are going to be looking into your life, because now that cancel culture exists, which is just a reality, artists have been canceled for petty things. And of course, artists have been canceled for very, very important things as well. There's cancel culture is a double-edged sword, but I do think that artists do have a responsibility, especially depending on the type of art. If it's an art that's supposed to be meaningful and move people, I think that honesty is really important. I think that addressing even the most controversial topics that people might even be uncomfortable with hearing about, I think that that's important too. And in my show, I am going to be addressing a somewhat controversial thing that happened to me about a year and a half ago. And I don't want to give away too much again because I want people to go and see the show and really figure out what it is, because the show's really special and it's raw, it's gritty, and it's honest, and that's what I'm really trying to go for. Because as an artist, it is absolutely important for people to at least get to know the sides of you that make your art matter. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I understand, and I think a lot of times artists, they tend to want to put themselves out there as a polished version of who they are, and I feel like sometimes we, as the audience, benefits so much from seeing an artist that's willing to show, hey, I did a lot of the bad stuff back in the day, or I have these bad thoughts.
I'm a human being.
I'm a human being, and I feel like a lot of times we connect to that. And I wanted to ask you, were there any works that you were inspired by that you would call raw and visceral, that showed an artist's ugliness or like their demons? You know what I mean? Like, of course, even if you weren't inspired for the show, was there any art or work from any artist that you admire that you would call raw or describe in a similar fashion?
There are two artists that immediately come to mind. One artist is one of my favorite bands of all time. They're called Fantogram. If you know what a fantogram is, it's sort of like a 3D-esque picture or something. But they're called Fantogram, and they have a lot of, they're an electro pop band, and they have a lot of songs that have not just darker lyrics, but they also have like a darker sound design, like an electronic darker sound design. And immediately a song that comes to mind when I think about what inspires me to write more honest things is actually not a Fantogram song. It's a song by an artist called Kimbra. You may know who Kimbra is because she was featured on Gautier's Somebody I Used to Know a few years ago.
That one's a good one. She had a wonderful voice. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I got to say, she had a wonderful voice that I'm always a little disappointed that she wasn't a little bit more well-known mainstream wise, because I think she made that song, in my opinion. I think she really added to that song. So I just wanted to say that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, she's amazing. And the song that comes to mind when I think of an artist that can be raw and a little gritty was her song called Version of Me. And it basically, the lyrics talk about how she was basically too rough on somebody. She was too mean to somebody, and she and it cost her a relationship. And it's even the song itself is also kind of like in the same vein I write in as well. And of course she's just fantastic. I wish I got to meet her one day, but hopefully I will. But definitely those two artists for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Now, I wanted to ask you about the streaming that you've done. Now, I know that a lot of artists during the pandemic have certainly jumped on the streaming thing, and I think that that's a really wonderful thing. I wanted to ask you about your opinions regarding if you have any opinions, the Spotify controversy with streaming music. I wanted to see if you had any opinions on that as an artist, especially young artists where we have more of a connection to Spotify than a lot of older artists. So I was curious about that.
I'm going to be completely candid and honest about it. I personally think that artists should kind of, use platforms that work for them. If Spotify works for them, then Spotify works for them. I think that when it comes down to it, Spotify, they're just another platform for artists to take their business and just use it. I don't necessarily. This is the whole double-edged sword thing that's happening with this whole cancel culture stuff. It's kind of like, all right, well, yeah, maybe sometimes Spotify has content on that's up or whatever that not everyone agrees with, or and in the very special case, of course, that all the things that are false about like all the COVID information and stuff like that. I've heard about that, and as painful as it is to say, there's always going to be people out there who won't listen to science, if I can be completely candid. And ideologies are extremely, it's important to people, and sometimes they stick by their ideologies to death. And that's just the thing that people have to accept. And I think that Spotify shouldn't be scrutinized for, having artists use their platform. I think that it's not their fault. I do think that when it comes down to it, if it's literally hurting society as a whole, then maybe things should be done about it. But I'm just an artist, as far as just kind of using platforms to build your musical empire, if you will. I don't care. No. I'm just kind of like, I just want artists to do what they can, and however they want to do it, go ahead. If it doesn't hurt people, why not? So,
no, it's certainly true about cancel culture being like a double-edged sword. I certainly think that it's okay to have valid critiques of works that you like. I think that I've done it plenty of times on like Flicks and Picks and on this show where I've critiqued things that, like I always critique like the new Sex and the City show, where I have plenty of opinions about why I think it's problematic, and I certainly would use the word like cancel that, you know what I mean, but in a joking manner. But I do understand a little bit more closely how that feels to be quote unquote canceled, especially when you're trying to do something positive and you might have made a mistake, maybe I said something wrong. But to move on from that, I wanted to ask you real quick about the Discord server, the streaming stuff, and I wanted to ask you if you can give our audience more information about your streaming and when you're going to do it. I know they're going to do it more often after the concert, so I wanted to get if you can get us some information on that.
Right, of course. So actually, I stream on Twitch, and I'm currently building a Discord server for people to for the public to use whenever I'm on Twitch. But so I stream on Twitch. I haven't streamed on Twitch lately because I've just been busy with the concert. But I usually stream games. I'm a huge gamer. I'm a big nerd. I used to stream music as well. But right now, just because of music licensing and stuff, I don't really do covers on Twitch. So like basically, I'll do like a couple of like the original concerts here and there on Twitch. But my main thing is gaming on Twitch. And after the concert, which is February 4th, again, I will start streaming regularly from Monday through Wednesday, Pacific time, of course, at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 3 p.m. And I stream horror games. I'm going to start to stream like some survival games, maybe some competitive games once I get a better PC, like a better, rig. And that's another thing I do to, trying to make ends meet.
That's all we have to do as artists, is that we just have to try to make that coin, because I feel like, of course, there's that passion for it, but then people forget, we need that money in order to survive, to keep having that passion, you know what I mean? Like just having some money to be able to have like some dignity to be able to like do that. But I wanted to start wrapping things up, and I wanted to say thank you so much for coming on. And just a reminder, Listen, an original Krystofer Do concert experience will be playing at the Desert Rose Playhouse February 4th. $85 dinner and show at 7 p.m. or $30 only, show only at 8 p.m. Full cash bar. Yeah. Again, thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Break a leg.
Break a leg.
Both of you.
And have the time of your life. And we'll catch up with you about this. Thank you so much, Krystofer.
Thank you, guys.